My main thing left and my side thing switched up. It's better that way. I was getting them mixed up. Main thing left, side thing switched up. It's better that way. I was getting them mixed up. Main thing left and my side thing switched up. It's better that way. I was getting them mixed up. Main thing left, side thing switched.
All right, welcome back to the Freelance Network podcast, everybody. A podcast by content creators for content creators. So today we are doing something a little different, but before we get into that, I'm joined with some lovely people. How are you guys doing?
How are we doing?
Who
doing.
are you?
We're doing good. I started going back to work this week, so I feel weird about it, but working at a liquor store for the time being, and this is my first time doing media stuff in a while since since Leah's episode. So I'm starting to get back into it, but doing good.
Well, this is your first podcast as a college graduate, so.
Yeah, that's weird. That is weird. I graduated this past Friday, so that's
virtual style.
I know.
Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Congrats, Cassie. That's lit. So, Sully, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Just been making a lot of podcasts, and luckily been working with I was working with a nonprofit this week for their podcast, sending them a structure for that. So, building out. My client's starting his first episodes this week and next week. So it's a lot going on, but I love it, man. So
yeah,
just staying busy.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to have you both on because, like I said, this is kind of like a first for the Freelance Network because we're not interviewing anybody and we're not just like talking about a topic. So shout out to Luke Searles because he sent me this ad on Facebook and it led to me just kind of looking into it and figuring out what it was all about. Today, we are actually doing like a informal product review, like a not sponsored one. Like we're not sponsored or anything. We just wanted to test it out. It's this thing called Poddex. So now podcasting is having merchandise and like things you can buy for podcasting. It's not just like microphones. Which
I
is
love it.
Cool.
I love that. I'm definitely making Bobcast and podcast merch now.
Yeah. So basically the way this works is it's a deck of cards that this one specifically says episode deck. So basically it's like each card gives you an idea for an episode. So we're going to pop it open with some scissors and see what's inside, guys. Are you excited?
Yeah,
We'll
you got your adult scissors, so we're living.
Big boy scissors out here.
Big boy scissors, I have to open this. I'm so bad at
Take your time, man.
things,
Take your time. Make sure you focus. Don't,
Like, I always felt
yourself.
so self-conscious about opening stuff because, like, I would always mess it up. Like, I would cut the box or something. But, here we are. We live in. Oh, I forgot to hold the sign up. Wow. This is right under the pod deck the entire time. We're the Freelance Network. This is going great.
Love
So,
to see it.
pod decks, baby. Let's see how it goes. So I'm just going to pull the card out. We're going to open. I can't even open it. Oh, there we go. Ooh.
Unboxing, man. You didn't get the unboxing on camera, bro. You got remember that YouTube unboxings? I did those. I made those.
I still watch those.
Yeah.
I should still make those. I don't know why I ever stopped.
All right. So before we actually like review it, I'm just gonna tell you like where you can find it. So they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, Poddex, like PODDECKS. And they have 5 different decks out right now. Like I said, this one's the episode deck, so it gives you episode ideas. There's 2 different interview decks. There's a Would You Rather deck, and there's a What the Heck deck. So they all sound pretty fun. But we got the episode one because actually he was running a promotion, Travis, the guy who runs it. You could get the episode deck for free. You just had to pay for shipping. So I was like, I bet. Got it. So I'm going to give it a little shuffle, so it's not just the first one. We're just going to see how it goes. So
see what's up. Yeah, man.
Ooh, okay. First question is, share a time-saving tip.
Oh my. Okay. As you can tell, this is like authentically like our first time like looking at these, so we have no time to prepare for this.
Yeah. So time-saving tip. Ooh. I mean, that's a good question because like this one isn't about anything specific. It could just be really random episode ideas. So I would say from a podcasting standpoint, pre-production is huge. So when you're doing an interview, like if you take some time to look into whoever's content or work they do, obviously you should just be doing that. But this is something we've all done and talked about before is like that extra mile where like you look into their stuff like and find like really harder to find things so you know what you want to ask them and you kind of get that out of them in an interview, because I feel like it just saves you time in a sense of like the podcast goes smoother. Like how right now we're not doing this not knowing, like this makes sense because we're being authentic. But like if we were interviewing somebody, I wasn't just going to have someone on and not know what they do. So like it kind of saves yourself time and like just makes for a better podcast if you actually do the research before.
I mean, yeah, that's
You guys got an
definitely
answer?
Being
Then-
prepared is so key, man. I just like made that like in bold on this podcast treatment that I'm making for this company. But I would say in real life, Audible, audiobooks, you know, you can do two things at once. I mean, you can like learn and run or walk or whatever at the same time. And then for podcasts, I'm just gonna buy the Calendly Pro, because I mean the time that you save from like even just clicking the like or transitioning the Google Calendar invite to a Zoom meeting it takes like a certain amount of time. So Calendly, you can even have it set up, or what I'm doing for my client is it sends the instructions on how to download Zoom automatically once they book. So that's huge. Save a bunch of time.
Yeah. You got one, Cassie?
I mean, not from like a media standpoint, because like
Well,
I
it doesn't
would
have to
said-
be media. That's
Okay.
how my brain works. So
Okay. Well, I mean, like for like a real life standpoint, so Luke and I were always like disgustingly early to absolutely everything we've done. And I still am. I was 45
too.
minutes early to work the other day because I was so excited to go back to work. But one of the biggest things I realized like while going back to work was to save time like in the morning, like if you have to have an early morning shift or something, you know, when you're like driving the night before and you're like, oh, I'll get gas in the morning, or I'll do this in the morning, and just like procrastinate it. Yeah, don't do that. Definitely
facts.
like bite the bullet, do it at night, like while you have the energy, while you're not doing anything, like pretty much get everything you need like laid out, done, like organized. Organization's like super key in this kind of like time saving stuff. That way, when you wake up, all you have to do is literally like open your eyes, like shower, get ready real quick, and you have everything like ready for you to just grab and go. So that's like something that people have to implement when you come out of quarantine, because I didn't and I regretted it, even though I'm like still early to everything. But yeah, that's like super important.
It's funny you say that though. I mean, that's like a great tip because I feel like I always do that where like I'll just do it in the morning, and then in the morning it's just always a huge regret. But I actually haven't gotten gas since before the quarantine started, which is so weird because I'm so used to like filling up my tank twice a week. And then now it's like I'm not driving anywhere. But so that was a good first question. We all shared some
Solid.
nice tips.
That was solid.
So, yeah, one down. We're going to do a couple. We're not going to, because there's 50. So we're not doing all 50 right now. You may see one every once in a while on episodes.
We'll just go
for fun.
speed rounds, man. 10 seconds each. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. So the next one is 5 things that you are excited about right now. So we'll do kind of like a collective thing. Great question during the quarantine. What is there to be excited about?
That's so many things too. Why do I have 5 things?
Well,
like
I
know.
said, we'll be collective. So first thing is I'm excited for the quarantine to end. Sully, what are you excited for?
oh man.
Actually, I can also throw out there stalling for you guys. I'm excited because I get to do a podcast still, because I was looking at our Instagram the other day and we've done 9 episodes since the quarantine started. And I'm just like, damn, look at us go. Like, I wish we were in a studio. I wish we were doing our usual thing. But even with all the circumstances going on, we've done 9 episodes and we're still pumping out content. And then Sully's still doing episodes as well, and Chatting Cinema is still doing stuff. So it's just exciting. So that little self-hype right there.
I just want to DJ again, man. I just want to DJ again. That's it. That's what I'm excited about. Just put me on a mic, put me behind the speakers. Let me mix something. Let me yell at 400 people. Like, let's get it.
I'm really excited to see my friends again. Like my friends are my family, so it feels like I'm being like pulled away from my family, and it's hard because like I started going back to work. It is a good thing in a sense, because when I started going back to work, like I'm working with new people, and it was an opportunity to make friends in person. And like I feel like after, like before the quarantine, like we took our coworkers for granted, and we would like have like small conversations, but like going into an environment where you have to be with people, like you're just automatically like clicking and having conversations that you normally wouldn't have because you're just so excited to see people in person again. So, but like I'm excited to just like be around people, and I'm an introvert, so I never say that, but I am
Yeah,
excited
well,
to be around people.
I mean, I miss people too. It's like I said this many times. I'm very much an extrovert. I love talking to people. I love seeing people. I'm that guy that if I need to tell you something real quick, I will call you. And you're just like, oh, God damn it, he's calling me again. Like, why can't you just text me? I just like talking better. But
No, I like that about you, man. I like that you call me, even though half of the time I'm like, just don't even have my phone on or something. I'm like, yo, my bad. Like, cause then I do that too. Like, I'll call people and I'll be like, yo, you didn't call me back, bro. But like, then I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't say the same thing, you know?
yeah, I
But
mean, I
yeah,
just
man, I
got
like
that
that.
reputation now, though. It's like
That's the
the
best way to
cat.
do it though. Like, why press all these buttons, man?
Yeah.
I know.
Well, I feel like those people where it's like, I'd
Speaking.
rather send a letter than a text. And I'm just like, I'd rather call or I'd rather FaceTime. And so many people are like, just text me. And I like talking to people. I miss people. So those are great
Brilliant, man.
answers. I think this question is very good for not quarantine time when like life is happening and there's
True.
things to be excited about. But it's also good to be excited for things because we all kind of talked about things that we haven't been able to experience, but hopefully we'll see. So the next one, Throwback Thursday. Share your most embarrassing moment. Poddex is exposing us right now.
So my whole life, how long do you have?
Ooh. Yeah. What's my most embarrassing moment? This is a really random one, but one time in 6th grade, it was like in the lunchroom, and if it was somebody's birthday, you could tell like one of the lunch ladies it was their birthday, and they'd announce it, and like the whole cafeteria would sing happy birthday. So one of my friends in my class was like, "Yo, Luke, go tell the lunch lady that it's Sarah's birthday." I was like, "Okay, bet," because like I'm the extrovert. They didn't want to go do it, so I went and did it and told them it was Sarah G's birthday, but it was Sarah someone else's birthday. So they said the wrong name, and then like everybody looked at me because they saw me go up to the lunch lady, and they were like, "You don't even know whose birthday it is?" And I was just like big clown energy in 6th grade, so that was rough.
I feel like
I feel like I've
you're like
suppressed that
slowly.
memory.
Yeah, I feel like you're definitely like still traumatized by that, and you just brought it up, and you're like, oh my God.
I miss therapy. Anyways, what's your most embarrassing moment?
Okay. I have a lot of them because I am the kind of person I would rather people like not know I exist. So I fly under the radar, and like I don't like when people like look at me. So there was this one time, actually it was also in middle school. I went to Catholic school, so this makes sense. We had to wear uniforms, and and there was one day we were eating lunch, and for some reason people started bringing this up lately, like how at like 10 o'clock in the morning, like schools really fed us like chocolate milk and like pizza, and like the worst combination you can ever have. But obviously I had chocolate milk every single day, and so I had like an early lunch, and I one of my friends spilled chocolate milk all over my uniform that day. And it was a white shirt and like a plaid skirt, and like you could see the milk and you could smell the milk, and I couldn't change because we weren't allowed to wear other kind of clothes. So I like spent the entire day smelling like chocolate milk, and people made fun of me so much. And I'm like, it's not my fault. Like I couldn't get it out. Like they didn't have a change of clothes for me, and people were looking at me because I had this big ass stain on my shirt. And I hated Catholic school, and now I'm traumatized, and I also need to go back to therapy. But yes.
Solid. So thank you, Poddex, for bringing out deep memories that we have buried. Sully, what's your deep buried memory?
Yeah, I mean, this one, I was thinking of one that went a little far back. Like my first major like embarrassment in school. It's not even bad. I just was really embarrassed. My friend just pulled the chair out from under me, but in music class. And you know how in music class, it's like a bigger class. It's like not like 10, 20 kids, like 30 or something. Like, and everybody's sitting around and watching you, and like I was just like I almost cried. Like I just remember I was in middle school, and then but for high school though, I got caught vaping on the bus, so I had to walk through like the whole school with the like disciplinarian dude, and so like everybody saw him, and then like it wasn't even that too. It was like every day I had to go to 3 days of ISS, and the ISS room was in the center of the school, so every day you walk by and see who was in there. And, I was in there. So that was kind of embarrassing too.
Damn.
Love that.
Don't vape. Vapes. My bad. I quit, by the way. So it really is not good for you. Don't do that. But I had bad habits.
We love the little PSA. Also, when you said high school, that made me remember another one. So this is a fun fact. My mom is a high school health teacher, and I went to the same high school she teaches at. And the health rooms were next to each other. I thankfully didn't have her for health, but all of my friends did next door. So every day when the bell would ring and we'd walk out, they would tell me an embarrassing story of my childhood because I was often used as an example. So yeah, I mean, it was just funny to me. Like I was embarrassed for sure, but most of the time you just had to like pretend like it didn't embarrass you because if you showed it, it made it worse. But yeah, so that was another good one.
Yeah, they be digging deep on these babies.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the next one, this is a good one. I like this. Back to the Future. Make some predictions that will happen in the future. Ooh. Poddex is making us think now. It's bringing out deep memories. It's making us think about the future, which also I think this is just kind of a fun one to throw out there. Podcasting, the future of podcasting in general. I mean, Sully's already experiencing it firsthand by having a business about podcasting, but like right now it's kind of like a passion project thing where a lot of people are starting them and like it's fun. And I mean,
that's the best way to do it. Start it.
But I feel like it's going to be more and more like a really big industry and treated like TV shows or treated like movies or like radio or something like that. Because right now it's not as respected as those. So I think that's a good like prediction to throw out there. Also, my next prediction is that Philadelphia won all the sports championships in the world, and I love them. Anyways, who else has got a prediction?
I kind of do. I mean, it kind of comes off of like the whole impact of COVID, I guess. I think that a lot of jobs that we didn't know could be done remote are going to be continued remote. I think that this like opened everybody's eyes that like people can still do stuff from home and like you don't have to force someone to commute an hour to do the same job when you can just have someone do it over Zoom and stuff. I think at the one time that I realized it this quarantine was I was actually looking up internships because I'm trying to make a slight career change in the same field. And they had a paid internship in New York City and it's all remote. And like they planned on keeping it all remote. And it like normally that kind of position, like I would have to drive into Brooklyn, but they're looking for someone to do it right out of their bedroom and get paid for it. So I really think that they're all going to start like shifting jobs, even not even in media, just like all kinds of jobs that you could do from home. And it saves people, it's going to save people gas. It's going to save people like time and energy. So I don't know. I feel like that's going to come out of this.
I think, I know Sully, I'm pretty sure we've talked about this, but like there's like other countries that do like a 3-day work week or a 4-day work week. And like, I know Cassie, in your one book that you had to read this semester, they talked about it too. Mm-hmm. But like, what if it was like an integrated thing of like you go into work 3 days a week and then 2 days a week you work from home for less hours, something like that. Because
I mean, yeah, that would be definitely a lot better than like stressing people out to commute to like, because in this area people either commute to Philly or that you're commuting to New York, and you know it puts a toll on you mentally, physically and stuff. And this way it's like you're more productive and you can get more done as long as you have like internet and a laptop. I feel like it's a lot easier.
True.
And you see your family more too. I feel like that's huge.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. At the same time though, I think we're also discovering that we don't want to sit inside and do remote work. So I've been doing remote work for a year. I've been preparing for this shit. All last summer, I sat right where I'm sitting right now, all last summer. So I already had a summer down of doing this. It felt weird, but it felt cool at the same time. Like I would go in the city like here and there. I hated going to, now I despise going to the city. Like I do not want to go, but at the same time, man, like there's no other sales pitch than being in person. Like there's no other way to, not even a pitch, but even that conversation. There's nothing that's the same. So I think we're also at the same time that we're realizing, Cassie, you're right. We're also realizing that we do want to maybe have a split week, or we do want to be outside the entire weekend and not touch our phones. So we're realizing like we're coming to find the balance. And I think in the future, we're going to have a really good way to find that balance. And I think in the last this entire thing, we're just kind of doing whatever we can, and we don't have time to sit down and think about what do we really value. Do we value being at home, or do we value being in a setting that's just work? Because the reality of it is, like, I make music right here, I do work right here, I do business right here, like, so it's kind of, I can't get out of this mental state, it's kind of hard sometimes, so I think we're kind of finding the balance a little bit. But as far as something, in the future specifically, I mean, Elon's making the microchip, so that's going to be, people are going to have that, and what that's going to do is, it's not what people think it is. It's just a cure. It's just to cure people. So mental illness, physical, they can like bring your legs back and things like that. So that's some crazy future stuff.
Elon is future. Like,
and I have
hear
a single,
Elon Musk,
by the way, I do have a single called Elon if you want to.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
But I feel like Elon Musk is just like attached to the word future because he's doing things that like shouldn't be happening right now. Not that they're bad, but like his technology is coming out now, and I feel like it's just kind of like we're not supposed to be there yet. Like how are Teslas doing what they're doing? Like I want one, but that's definitely a good one. So the next question that we got here, I like this one.
And Luke froze.
Frozen. Not the movie.
Did it freeze?
Yes.
And he's back.
Yeah.
And he's back. So the next question that I just read and started to answer while the computer froze. Questions I would ask a famous person if they were on the podcast. I think it's a good one because honestly, we all interview people, and there's people we want to interview and like we want to have on. But I think right now I would want to ask Aaron Sorkin just a bunch of questions. He's a writer of films and TV shows. He wrote The Social Network. He wrote Moneyball. He wrote The West Wing, The Newsroom, like a ton of really big stuff like that. I would want to ask him, how do you write natural dialogue better than every other human that's ever written movies or TV shows? Because that's like the thing I've struggled with the most as a writer, is figuring out how can I make my characters speaking sound natural? Like how can I make conversations flow? And like I'm currently watching The West Wing right now, which is why I want to ask him this, because that's a show about government and about like all the people who work in the White House and the cabinet, and their conversations are fast. They overlap each other. They're constantly moving. And like every single second of that show is like there's no dead space in the show. Like there's barely any transitions. There's usually people speaking over all the transitions. So I would love to just talk to him about like his process of writing, how people speak. Because you think, oh, I speak to people, I know how to talk. And then I read my dialogue. I'm like, I sound like a robot. Like I talk to people all the time and I can't get it to sound normal. So I would love to talk to him about that.
I feel like that's a thing that comes with like time in the industry. Like you kind of like start off like that. Like obviously you're in the beginning of your career, so you're not going to like automatically be like a top tier writer like him until you get in the field and you shadow people and you figure out your niche. But like,
Yeah.
I feel like that'll definitely come with time, but that's a great question to ask if you ever, were to interview him, because I don't think anybody like really just knows how to do that like naturally, but
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. What about you guys?
So I want to interview this guy who I brought up before when on the podcast about the podcast that we like episode.
Yes.
Tim Ferriss. I want to interview him real bad because he's not only succeeded with his books and the 4-Hour Work Week, the 4-Hour Chef, Tribe Mentors. He's not only interviewed the most not only famous, but also most successful and richest people in the world. But he's also, created this massive podcast around it and is one of the originators of, he probably is one of the best podcasts in the world as far as quality goes. The amount that he prepares for each episode is crazy. So I'd like to really dive into like, what do you use to upload, like little details, like how do you prepare? How much time do you take? And he releases a lot of information about that, but I'd like to kind of like just interview him and kind of go through,
Pick his brain.
Yeah. Pick his brain about, those like nitty gritty details that you don't necessarily hear.
That's dope. What about you, Cassie?
I feel like, I don't know, this is a tough one.
I mean, there's just so many good answers too. It's like, there's so many people's work that you look up to, or just like famous people that you'd love to vibe with. Like I would love to have like Will Smith on and just talk about life. Like I've watched so many videos where he's just like being real with people. I'm like, I would love to have a life chat with Will Smith.
I know. I would have to say probably Jimmy Fallon. I mean, I've met him and I've talked to him, and seeing him off camera and interacting with him off camera, he's just like a really genuine person. He doesn't seem like the normal talk show host that I'm not gonna call out, that like when the camera stops, they just like don't care about like where they are, their job, like the audience, whatever. Like he's a genuine dude, and I want to pick his brain about the television industry more, because I only got like 2 minutes with him. But yeah, I guess that would be my answer. There's so many answers.
Exactly.
That I could go all
And
day.
that's the thing too, is like I plan on now just like pulling 1 or 2 of these out per episode. So if we repeat, we'll get another shot to answer it again too. So we'll do like 1 or 2 more, because we're just kind of getting a vibe of it. I mean, so far I think it's pretty fun. I don't know about you guys. I think it's just
they've been good questions. They're not like too out there. Some of them are a little more broad, some of them are more specific.
Yeah. So let's just keep sending it. All right. So the next one is what I learned myself this quarter. I'm going to change quarter to quarantine.
It's close enough.
because it's pretty much, it's got the QU, QUA. Oh, spelling. So what I learned myself about this quarantine. Sorry, I almost read the card again.
It's what I learned about myself. That's what it is. Sorry. Okay.
And I think this is a fantastic alteration to this card, because we've been in this quarantine for about 2 months now. And I feel like literally 1 day is enough for self-reflection, let alone 2 full months. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've talked about this extensively with both of you guys on.
Come back.
Frozen.
Come back.
We'll just, insert the
Luke,
Frozen.
come back.
Frozen music right over.
Come back to the Zoom. You gotta come back. There he's back.
I'm going to have fun editing this episode, everybody.
Dude, you got to edit that. I just threw down a little, that was a little sing-along right there. You can edit that at one end.
I don't know if it recorded because mine froze. I'll just use Cassie's. I'll use Cassie's. See, another time-saving tip. We're going back to the first question. On Zoom, have 2 people record the podcast, because Luke's internet sucks.
Right. Yeah, dude. On mine, for my client, I record the host, and my employee records the guest.
Yeah. Okay. So what I learned myself about this quarantine, non-Frozen edition. So this has been something that like I've talked about extensively with both of you guys over those lovely phone calls that I just throw out there all the time. I was like the type of person where if like there was a day in my week where there wasn't work to be done, I would like try and find a side job to do, or like try and find literally anything I could fill in where it ends up with me networking or making money somehow. And I had to like take a step back from all of that during the quarantine, because both of my jobs were kind of on hold, which one of them still is. The other one I'm doing remotely a little bit now. But I think I learned a lot about the opposite lifestyle that I lived, that I kind of dreaded, of like having free time and relaxing and resting. And I just didn't want to do that, and I was forced to. But now I realized why there's like good things to it. And now when it ends, I'm going to try and balance the two of like, I like working, because that's the thing, is I loved my job so much. So I was like, I love this. That's why it's okay to just never rest. But you need to rest. You're going to burn out. Your brain's going to be fried. Your body's going to be fried. So, I guess that's the biggest thing I've learned about myself.
Yeah, that's awesome, honestly. I mean, you definitely were always working. It was like, I was worried about you at one point, because like you just like were not taking time for yourself. And I would just be like, hey, maybe you should, take a day to yourself and do something. You were like, no, I'm good. I got work. But no, I'm glad that you like realized that you need rest in order to be you. But I have to say, because I just like decided to take the time. Also, I worked a lot, but I also started right before the quarantine started to realize that like rest is very needed for mental health, physical health, all that kind of stuff. I didn't value my body the way that I should have. I would go like all day. I would go to work. I would just like not eat anything and be like, I have to work and then I'll take care of myself. And I gained a lot of weight and my skin broke out, and I had no idea why any of that was happening. And my body was trying to tell me like, you need to listen to yourself and your instincts, and you have to eat when you like your body's telling you, and you can't just ignore it. And I wound up during this quarantine being able to recognize when I was hungry and feed it and exercise and, take care of my skin properly, and not just like come home from work, like lay in bed, like not wash my face. Like washing your face before you go to bed makes the biggest difference in the world, by the way. So definitely do that. And I started taking care of myself. And when I went back to work on Monday, my boss like looked at me. He was like, "Wow, like you lost weight. You look really good." And I was like, "I did." Like I felt better. Like I could get out of bed and just go to work and not like feel like, when you wake up and you feel like groggy and you just don't want to do anything. I stopped feeling like that. And you got to listen to yourself, and you listen to your body, and also mentally too. I took the time to, actually like grieve things that I needed to grieve, and think about things that, bothered me, and confront them, and become myself and become more confident as a person. I think that I found that when I was in school and at work and stuff like that, I wouldn't wear things that I wanted to wear because I felt self-conscious that someone was going to look at me or stuff like that. And like this quarantine, I bought a pair of Crocs, which by the way, I love them. And my friends hate on them all the time. And I wore them with like high socks, and I love my Crocs. And my friends are like, "What are you wearing?" And I was just like, "It's fashion. You know what? You don't bother me. You can't bully me into taking these off." And, I would have never been able to do that. I would have just like gotten made fun of and then like put them away and never touched them again. So like, self-discoveries, yay. That was
That's
a long
lit,
answer.
Cassie. That's like a really great list of things. And I
Yeah,
think
you did
that,
a whole lot of work. Like,
yeah,
did a lot of self work.
I did.
yeah, which is great. I mean, you just graduated, so it's kind of like a good time to reassess and ready yourself for whatever this world is going to be like when when quarantine ends. So yeah. So Sully, how you gonna follow that up, bro?
Yeah, man, right? Got to come with something good. But yeah, man, I'm kind of like you. Like I just kind of always working, and I got this like girlfriend happening now, and I'm trying to
Ooh,
balance
Sully about to get
that.
a girlfriend.
Oh, 2 months today actually, but
Aw.
so yeah, shout out to her. She's dope. It's been awesome, man. But even finding, I mean, it's tough. It's definitely tough because people in my life, are like, "Oh, what, you like have a girlfriend? Isn't that like impossible?" I actually told her or was talking to another DJ one time, and I was like, "Yeah, I can never like just with my schedule would never work." And so, but it's working. So, but I guess I've tried to find that. Like, I realized, okay, you got to give, because when it's just me, it's just solo, I don't give my time to other people. I don't really give my time to other people in general, like just not because of them, but because of I just do a lot of solo stuff. So the music, the podcast is really all solo, except for like the interviews, obviously. But also, so I learned, kind of to find that balance. And I also learned like you're never as motivated really as like you think you are. Like in the beginning of the quarantine, I was like, yeah, I got this business, bang, like, never get no days off and all this. I'm like, that's not even possible, man. Like that's not even possible. So I realized same thing, kind of a mix of between what both of you guys learned, I think, and also self-awareness. I've been just meditating for like years now, but I think I've been trying to use the self-awareness in everyday life. So I'm not sure how that works. I'm not sure if I really am or if it's really helping. I know that it's helping, but it's kind of hard to see when and where it is. So I'm trying to kind of, I guess, take it to the next level and just be mindful in conversation, things like that. But yeah, a lot of balance and to be honest, a lot of thinking and kind of planning for the future and things like that, which I didn't normally do. Is kind of just like, what do I have to do today? Let me bang these things out.
That's true. Yeah. Like I'm the same way where it's like I didn't really think about a month in advance or 6 months in advance or a year in advance much because I was so focused on like Monday through Friday, what do I have to get done? And it was like finding something to get done every single day. But now with this extra time, it's like I can kind of think about the future and think about like where I want to end up as opposed to just riding the train that I'm on, you know?
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
definitely the thing. And also too, I think right before I think you started dating your girlfriend, we had a conversation, and it was like, if you really want to make time for someone, like you will. And it
I
looks
remember
like
that conversation.
yeah, it looks like you actually found that person that you want to make time for.
That's so funny because we weren't like official at that time or whatever you want to call it. So it's I made it was like a no-brainer, honestly. It just kind of like fell into place too. But yeah, that I've never really had to make that like decision for myself. Also, I learned don't just talk about business shit with like normal people. Like, don't say executive decision, just say decision. Like, it's just, I also learned that like she's like, you say all these words, like don't say those. Like, just be normal. That's a funny thing that I learned about myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's dope that we can all kind of like look back. I mean, it's such a short period of time when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, because it's 2 months.
Feels like a year though, man, or something.
It does. I feel like I'm drastically like a different person. Like, I just have a better mindset going into life. And like, I don't know if it's right, but it's different than how I thought before. And I feel like it's good just to think about things, because like, yeah, you could be happy with where you're at, but you can always find better and new things. And like, yeah, people like comfort, people like that stuff. I mean, I'm wearing the Seek Discomfort hat. Shout out Yes Theory, please hire me. But like, just thinking about things that you wouldn't normally do, and not crazy things, not bad things, but like getting out of your comfort zone and doing new things and meeting new people. I mean, like Cassie was just talking about how she made new friends at her job, and Cassie's the person who's like, can we please not go to social things? Like, can we just chill with like our friends? Like, and here she is. She's made more friends during the quarantine than I have. So like, and I'm the extrovert who never shuts up. So like, look at that, people. This is great.
Yeah.
So let's do one more. Just before we pull the last one, I only skipped one because I have been screening them to make sure they're not like super crazy. The only one I skipped was interview your mom and dad, because we really just can't do that right now.
Nah.
So I mean, not yet. It's all right, pod decks. I can see why in a non-quarantine setting that would be. It should
say have your girlfriend interview you. That should be a car.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's happening, by the way. So.
Oh shit! All right. So last question that we're gonna do for now. Pod decks. I think it's been lit so far. I'm definitely looking forward to getting more decks, trying it out. So this is a great one to end on. What is the top 10 moments of the podcast?
Oh wow, that's a lot of moments.
That is. I mean,
I could definitely think of at least a few though. Yeah.
Yeah. We could just all kind of throw them out there. The first thing I would say, which is like going to be like our story we always tell about the Freelance Network, is Cassie was like, for my birthday, I want to start a podcast. And it was like, we had been talking about starting a podcast for 2 weeks before that, because Cassie's birthday is September 25th. And it was like,
shout out
came
Libras.
up with a name. What?
Said shout out Libras.
Yes, shout out Libras. So we came up with our name. We came up with our message, our like reason why we wanted to do it. And we were just kind of like sitting on it and like not doing it. And then Cassie, we were in the SSTV studio, and Cassie's like, it's my birthday. I look great today. Let's record a podcast. She's like, this is what I want to do for my birthday. And here we are 9 months later with 33 episodes, and that's pretty hype. So I feel like that's a great moment.
That
Facts.
is. Yeah. I mean, without that, we wouldn't be here. So
shout out to Cassie's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else do you guys think? I mean, just stuff that you find funny or cool from our lovely episode library.
So if you have something, you can go.
Yo, I mean, come on. How crazy was Mike Anderson episode? That was so dope.
Yeah.
He's a G.
Well,
that was really something
else. I feel like that was like the network in work fully.
Yeah, you're like, that was the first like larger guest as far as social media goes, as far as online influencers go. And Mike is definitely that. He's got 110,000 now, which is crazy. He had 17
when he was on.
Yeah,
he was at 110.
And hey, I mean, granted, dude, he runs a crazy digital business, and that's what he does. That's his life. But that was a dope moment. And also that episode that we filmed with Joe Gibbs. Remember that one night? I got a ticket that day. I was just like pissed off.
It was a terrible day for all three of us.
It was. I got a ticket going to the podcast, and my first ticket I ever got too. And I was like, you know what, this sucks. But then it ended up being like a really, because it's like the, pressure breeds diamonds type of thing. So it's like when you're in that position, you have a lot to express. So that the Mike Anderson and just like you guys having me, like that was the best interview anybody's ever done with me. So
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, just the entire thing. So that entire podcast itself, and the moment where I was telling the stories and about DJing, it's like there's, those are the couple key moments for me.
What about you, Cassie?
I think one of the first times that I realized that like podcasting can be therapeutic was Joe Gibbs's episode. And the first episode we did right after I was rejected from the Jimmy Fallon internship. And I was like super bummed. And, I went to therapy at that time, but you can only fit so much into like 45 minutes to an hour that I was just like, all right. And I was like, let me use this as like an outlet. And Joe Gibbs is just like that calming presence, like where like if you're like all like riled up and upset about something, he can just sit there and talk to you and you're just like, why do I go to therapy? Like when you have Joe Gibbs, and we talked about failure and how to handle it and how it makes you a better person. And that like really, I was upset about the Jimmy Fallon thing during and before, but like afterwards I was like, it was something that was just not meant to happen. And then like now that I think about it, we're going to fast forward to like today. I was supposed to do that internship the spring semester right when COVID hit. And I feel like it was the universe telling me, like, you're sick regardless. Like, you have autoimmune diseases. You shouldn't have been in New York at that time because you probably would have gotten it and you would have had a lot of more health complications. But it was something in the universe telling me, like, you should not be doing that right now. Like, as upset as you are right now, you're going to get over it because you're going to realize how lucky you were not to have to commute to New York every single day and, tired, make your body tired and, be around a pandemic. Like none of us knew at that time. So it was just like one of those, like he was like a calming presence, and then he helped me get through that. And it was just an episode that we decided to do on a whim. So like that's such a cool thing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great too because Joe Gibbs didn't know you were going through that and he brought up failure.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's just like that last like 10 minutes of that episode just like turned into like some of the most heartfelt podcasting I've ever listened to of you two vibing together. And it was super cool just to be sitting there, like watching it happen, let alone people getting to enjoy it at home.
What a crazy dude.
Right?
Like he comes up in like all our memories because he's like that one figure.
Because he's
that's
a beautiful,
like,
beautiful man.
Right? I mean, he is. Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
Inside and out, man. Yeah.
Inside and out. Yeah. I mean, I think just in general, this podcast has like strengthened Cassie and I's friendship to past or like just in a working sense, because we had been friends for 2.5, 3 years, but now we work together.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, I mean, if we didn't do this podcast, we would have no idea who you are, Sully. And like now you're our homies, and like I talk to you almost every day. Like it's just crazy things like that. I mean, like that was our idea with putting the network in the name, is like we want to meet people. And like you were saying with the Mike Anderson episode, we didn't know you, we didn't know Mike Anderson, but you were guest hosting while we were interviewing Mike Anderson because you knew him, bringing in somebody from your network. And like the fact that that's happened multiple times now, where it's like we just bring in different people we know, or like friends of friends asked to be
on.
The
network effect, man. The network effect is legitimate. It will change your life. It will give you a life if you don't have, like, you can start at zero and then do whatever you want to do just because of other people. Also,
I would like to again shout out the episode with Mike Anderson, because that was the first time Sully ever said, "That's a pod, baby."
Hey,
that's definitely a top moment, because now we scream that at the end of every single episode.
I know.
So,
also too, bringing that up, I'll talk about this very quickly. So for my graduation, Luke made me this. Did he? Oh, I thought you froze again.
No.
Okay. He made me this video of pretty much like all of my friends and mentors and stuff, which it's a beautiful, beautiful video, and it made me sob. It's 40 minutes of people giving me shout outs for my graduation, telling me like they love me and stuff like that, which like probably the best present anybody's ever given me. And it included like high school friends, college friends, people I met through Stockton, people I met through Freelance, stuff like that. And Sully was in the video, which thank you very much. And he screamed, "That's a pod." So now I have that forever. So. It
was Luke's idea, so you could give him the credit. I just went on and said what I always say. So, but anytime, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we might do this once we hit a year. Actually go through the episodes and pick like a top 10 moments because we're almost at a year now, which is kind of freaking me out. But
I got to do that with mine too. Damn, good idea.
yeah, well, yeah, you've been going for a couple years, so you have to.
Yeah, I've been going
You'll
for
get there.
exactly 2 years and 1 month now. It's crazy.
So we did all these ones. We answered a bunch of questions, and there's still a ton left to go. So I think what we're going to do each episode, whether it's something like this or something like talking with people or interview, I'm just going to be like, all right, let's do a pod deck question just for fun. So again, this was not sponsored. We just wanted to do this and send it because it seemed cool. And right now there's not a lot of merchandising with podcasting, like outside of your own. Because like, I just feel like this is an interesting new thing. And the guy, Travis, is a really nice dude who works in podcasting. He edits podcasts. He's edited thousands of podcast episodes. That's his job. So then he did this as well. And I asked him why he started the company. And he said, because I want to help podcasters, like, because they're my favorite people. Like, and I just thought that was so cool. So nice shout out to Travis and Poddex. The link to their like Instagram and their website and stuff will all be in the bio, and we're going to be doing more here and there. So that's super exciting. So I hope you guys had fun, messing around with this deck of cards. I hope the viewers and listeners thought it was fun too, because we're going to be doing it more. So yeah. So what are your guys' final thoughts on it?
That was cool.
Yeah, no, I think it's an awesome idea because there's been times where we just like we were like, let's record a podcast today. And then we had to like sit there on Google and we're like, what are we talking about today? So like, it's a very helpful tool for people that need ideas.
Yeah. Awesome.
I won't use it, but I think it's a good idea. I would never use it, but other than if we're doing an episode specific to it, but you know how my podcast rolls.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, Sully just riffs. It's like I've never seen somebody just go more off the cuff, like send it than Sully. So
yeah, thank you. That's what I try to do. It's so funny because people are like, "What should I prepare?" And they're like, "How is it going to be?" And when they don't watch one, then they think it's going to be bad, and then they get to the end and they're like, "Oh wow, this is fun."
Yeah.
So
yeah,
freestyle, baby.
Yeah, so with this, I mean, I think if you're struggling to come up with a podcast idea, I think this is fantastic.
Huge.
Like, I mean, just all of these questions we answered could have been their own episodes that are 5 to 20 minutes long.
It's good for like a segment, like even making like a certain type of episode or a certain type of segment. Like I could see that's how I could use it for.
Yeah, and also on top of that, he's launching an app soon for pod decks. So like on there'll be different pod decks. Like he's been sponsoring some, so like they'll have decks based off of their podcast or like questions they ask. So hey, maybe in the future there'll be a freelance pod deck. Who knows? We'll see. But cool. So I just want to thank everybody for watching or listening. And Sully, why don't you send him home with that lovely phrase we love?
That's a pod, baby.
Bam! I love that so
gotta
much.
Let it happen like a ritual. My main thing left and my side thing switched up. It's better that way. I was getting them mixed up. Main thing left, side thing switched up. It's better that way. I was getting them mixed up. Solo at the party, so I left with myself. If I needed what she needed, I would need it myself. Wasn't feeling what she's feeling with the feelings I felt. Doc, I think I got it.